The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So yesterday, Donald Trump actually made an announcement during a televised press conference that the leader of ISIS, the head of ISIS, and he's been the head of ISIS since 2010, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, actually is deceased. So apparently during the U.S. Special Forces raid that took place over in Iraq, they were closing in on him, and he let off a detonator that killed himself and his 3 children. So he went out on some jihad shit. Now this is a lot of times stuff like this is looked at as martyrdom, and unfortunately could lead to the radicalization of many more people and could create another ISIS. But nevertheless, this is at least a trophy, possibly, you know what I'm saying? I don't know that this would be the dismantling of ISIS. Nevertheless, they say that al-Baghdadi was radicalized when he was detained by U.S. forces in Iraq back in 2004 and spent 11 months in prison, even at the Abu Ghraib prison out there in Iraq. And keep in mind that at its peak, ISIS has controlled large swaths of land from Iraq to Syria and had tens of thousands of fighters for them, all from like across 100 countries. There have been deadly attacks claimed by ISIS committed across 5 continents. So, you know, the murder of this man could unfortunately lead to more extremist shit. Now, Trump did do some stand-up shit and make announcements to all of the U.S. journalists that may have been killed by ISIS. But keep in mind, mostly Muslims from over there were killed by ISIS. You know what I'm saying? So, Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure y'all sign that petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description. If you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org. Look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter by Bishop Grady. $$hit Grady, laying out exactly why you should be removed from that platform, from violating Twitter policies and spreading misinformation and putting us, U.S. troops, and people abroad in danger. Look it up. It's irrefutable evidence, so check it out. Don't please start hating. You know what I mean? Sign that petition. Now check this out. Over the weekend, governor of California actually declared a state of emergency due to climate change fueled, you could say, wildfires that are actually spreading across Cali from LA to Northern California. Strong winds were hitting the Bay Area. A lot of people, like you're talking about 200,000 people that are actually under evacuation orders, mostly in Sonoma County. It's devastating over there. You're talking about dry air and heavy winds that's causing this stuff, which people are linking to climate change. So shit could get real. It's making it look like some parts of Cali are almost just too dangerous to even live at. So Green War and Graduation. New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report over in South America, for you people that don't habla English, you know what I'm saying? Over in Chile, actually, I've been telling y'all about how real those protests have been getting. They've started since October 19th. You had Presidente Sebastián Piñera, who had initially put in some policies that got everybody in an uprising. But people are still uprising. You're talking about 1 million people that would hit the streets this past Friday, protesting economic inequality and these austerity measures. All started from a subway fee hike that had been called back, but it gave people the fuel they needed to start this uprising. So there was state of emergencies put in place, but Piñera actually said that he's going to lift the state of emergency tonight and actually put it to where they will have a major cabinet reshuffle amidst these historic protests. 18 people have been killed so far and hundreds shot and wounded. So it's real over there. Green War and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. On Friday and Saturday over in Iraq, a bunch of Iraqis actually took to the streets like protesting. There's anti-government protests going on, but you had dozens of people that were actually killed on this during these government crackdowns on these protests. People have been protesting against just economic disparity and inequality over there, the lack of jobs. So far, over 150 protesters have been murdered by Iraqi forces. So, shit is getting real over there. And we got to cover it because our motto, Green War and Graduation. Well, though the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Man, corruption, lack of jobs, economic inequality. This seems to be ongoing themes that is going on, that are taking place from nation to nation, with people being fed up with their government. Lebanon seems to be no different. They have actually reached their 11th day of nationwide protests against the government. Now, what people did was, I think, nothing short of amazing, but they actually formed a human chain that stretched from the north to the south of the country. This was a 100-mile human chain. I'm talking about people just standing, holding hands and locking hands. Like, this was amazing, and it was actually meant to symbolize the unity of the protesters, as well as the lack of sectarian divisions amid these protests going against corruption, lack of jobs, and economic inequality. So we'll see how this turns out. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Argentina, incumbent president Mauricio Macri actually lost big time in the national elections that they had yesterday to Alberto Fernandez, center-left candidate. Now, keep in mind, Macri is a right-wing dude, and somebody who actually imposed like these sweeping austerity measures and laid off tens of thousands of workers, public sector, unionized public sector workers actually. So and afterwards, like, you know, now you have it to where like a third of the Argentines actually live in poverty. So this was looked at as, I guess, a win for a lot of people, definitely for the left wing. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, this is a former president. She actually ran as vice president to Alberto Fernandez, so this was a comeback win for her as well. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Brexit, even though Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he would rather be dead in the ditch than delay Brexit again, he lost a critical vote. I told y'all about like last month that would have actually fast-tracked Brexit. Nevertheless, instead of that deal or that deadline being this Thursday, it's actually been pushed back to January 31st by European leaders. So they've agreed to push it back. A lot of people weren't feeling the deal that Boris Johnson had came up with. You know, some people were cool with it, but that's what's going on. Now they have until January 31st. We'll see what happens. Green Wall and Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure y'all sign that petition. Get Donald Trump off Twitter. Find the change.org link in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or go straight to change.org. Look up Get Donald Trump off Twitter. By Bishop Grady, $Hip Grady. And I'll lay out exactly why he should be removed from that platform. Now check this out, though. And it was irrefutable evidence too. So don't be hating before you actually read it. Like, read it, then tell me I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I challenge you. Now check this out. Two quick pieces of info. One, at the Nationals and Astros World Series game the other day, Trump showed up and they booed the fuck out of him. You know what I'm saying? You heard chants like impeach him and lock him up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I wonder how that felt. A lot of right-wing people gonna be butthurt over that, especially during the national pastime. Really? But also, Microsoft beat out Amazon for this $10 billion military cloud contract. So, you know, there you have it. Green Wall and Graduation. We'll go to Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Chicago, you're talking about the third largest public school district in the country. They've canceled classes for the 8th consecutive school day today due to the protest that started with Chicago Teachers, Public School Teachers Union. And SEIU Local 73, which actually represents all school support staff. Now, the support staff, you're talking about 7,500 people, they actually reached the tentative agreement with Chicago Public Schools. So they're still the bargaining lawyers for the SEIU Local 73 chapter. They're actually looking into the benefits of the deal, but they're still going to remain striking until they officially agree on the deal. Now, mind you though, when this shit started, you're talking about 30,000 people out there that were actually protesting for like better pay, you know what I mean, smaller class sizes, more nurses, social workers, counselors, librarians, and all of that. Shit was a shambles. As you can see, they were fed up, and a lot of people are in support of these schools being canceling classes for the purpose of getting this situation straight. So Green Wall and graduation. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So United Auto Workers and General Motors, you know, they've been at odds. A lot of UAW union workers actually work for General Motors. I think all of them actually. And about 50 days ago, they went on strike. They officially ended the 40-day strike. I said 50, pardon me, I meant 40. 40-day strike while reaching a tentative deal with General Motors that was approved by 57% of the labor union, and it includes annual raises, better health care and benefits, and an $11,000 bonus per member. So I guess they get away with a W with this one. The strike is officially over, and don't let nobody tell you that protesting or going on strike don't change anything. You know what I'm saying? People gonna hear you, and if you got enough power, shit, they gonna have to bust a move. Green Wall and graduate. We'll go to Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, California Democratic Congressmember Katie Hill is actually resigning from her position after it was learned that, and she actually had to admit that she had a relationship with a campaign aide, before actually coming into her office position. So, the House Ethics Committee is also looking into her having a relationship with her legislative director. That relationship is something that she's actually denying. Now, all these allegations surfaced after redstate.org and Daily Mail actually have published naked pictures of her without her consent. You know, she feels like it's a smear campaign that was orchestrated by like her husband, who's apparently abusive and using the help of like hateful political operatives, as she put it, to like bring her down. So unfortunately, that's what's happening. Maybe she fucked these niggas while she was with him, so he got an issue with that and trying to get back at it. Either way, the shit all look all kinds of sloppy, but you know what I mean? Should she really lose her job for some dick? Like, I don't know, unless there's really some real corruption going on. I don't really see the point, but rules are rules. Green Wall and graduate. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. This is also known as DACA. This is a undocumented immigrant program that's meant to help kids be allowed to stay in the country. And Trump, in his administration, they actually announced that they were going to end the program back in September 2017. Next month, they're actually November 12th specifically. Actually, the Supreme Court is going to hear cases. 3 separate cases that basically argue to bring DACA back, hopefully, and bring in more protection towards the 11 million estimated undocumented immigrants in this country. So as a show of support, you have at least like 200 activists that are actually, after having this DACA rally in New York City, they're setting off a march, a 16-day march to Washington, D.C. So this is 200 people marching about 230 miles. It's a big deal. We'll see what happens. Green Wall and graduate. The New World Order Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. Rest in peace to longtime Michigan Congressmember John Conyers Jr., the longest serving African American congressmember in history. I mean, you're talking about 5 decades of him putting in work. Some of the noted things that he was noted for. I mean, he supported the original Voting Rights Act of '65. He opposed like the Vietnam War, the Persian Gulf War, even the '03 invasion of Iraq. He even fought to have fought for legislation for the HR 40 legislation, so they could open up studies into reparations. I mean, he's considered to be a longtime advocate of the community. He actually had to resign not too long ago due to the fact that there were multiple women with allegations of him groping them or whatever. So that took place. But the reality is, rest in peace to John Conyers, who died at age 90 in his home in Detroit. Green Wall and graduate.